Hi, today we are going to talk about inclusivity and diversity in the creative community here in Minnesota. Joining us today is Heather Olson. She is the fabulous recruiter, connector, marketer, and entrepreneur. And she owns Soladay Olson. But then let's see what she has to say.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Cheryllyne.
Hi, Heather.
Hi. I would love to tell you a little bit about my background.
Absolutely.
I have grown up as a graphic designer, worked in all the possible settings, a design firm, ad agency, in-house, and freelance. And about halfway through my career, someone I'd worked with or volunteered with through AIGA, the Professional Association for Design, thought I would be good at marketing. And he hired me to market his design firm, which was really a great match to my personality. And then while I was there, the HR manager left and they had me doing employee recruitment.
Oh.
So I ended up with kind of this interesting combination of marketing and recruitment.
And that's how you got into it.
Yes, so I did it at 9 years at Larson Design and 3 at Frankie and Fiorella.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've been independent as Soladay Olson Connections for Creatives for the past 5 years.
The reason why I love Heather so much is because she has, not only is she a fabulous human being, she has been very vocal about having more diversity and inclusion in the ad industry. For instance, and as a lot of you know, I struggled with that for a very long time. I was the only copywriter from India. I faced quite a bit of racism, passive-aggressive nonsense while working in the ad industry. And it's only after I left about 4 years ago that someone said, you need to be meeting Heather Olson. You guys are perfect mind match. And we met for lunch and I was like, oh my God, where were you when I was in the business? Heather is very vocal about having more people from diverse backgrounds and from minority communities getting into advertising. But I want you to talk about it.
Sure, I'll kind of explain how I got interested in this very important work. Kind of 3 events happened over the last, I'd say, 20 years. In the early 2000s, I was invited to project manage a community mural in Eden Prairie, where I live. And believe it or not, there are a lot of immigrant populations in Eden Prairie. Indian, Somali, Russian, other Southeast Asian, and Latinx. And we brought in muralists who represented all those communities. And we had 200 adults and children working on 5 mural panels that are at our high school today that express the core values of the community. So that was one thing that happened. Then probably in the mid-2000s, I was so impressed with 2 advertising industry leaders who cared about helping young people learn about creative careers. One was Sue Krolik, who started Art Buddies, and she focuses then on 8 to 11-year-olds in an after-school program where they're paired with a creative adult and they work on a costume together, and they realize that a creative career could be a possibility. And the other was John Olson of Olson Agency, and he saw a need to bring advertising and marketing education into high schools, and then got those high school students paid internships with ad agencies and corporations. Absolutely. And from there followed them into college with internships and helping them land their first job. So I volunteered with both Art Buddies and the Brand Lab in those early years, and I continue with both today. And then the third thing that happened was about 2 years ago. I went to a panel discussion of talent agents talking about employment trends in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And these 3 folks had a conversation, and at the end I said, you really haven't said much about recruiting a broader range of people to jobs. how are you finding them, and are you getting them placed? And the three, who were all white people, kind of shrugged their shoulders and said, not much diversity in Minnesota, and we only hire the top talent. And I was appalled. I left that room and I said, I'm committed now to making a change and doing better than what I just heard. And
that means
have such a
so much to me, because I kept hearing that bullshit over and over again from ad agency recruiters. But please go on, and I'll tell you about mine.
Yeah, so what I've tried to do today is get involved in as many organizations as I can that are focused on emerging talent, on existing talent, and helping people get placed in positions that they're qualified for.
Wonderful.
So, and it can be a very long, slow process. I've made mistakes. I will continue to make mistakes, blunder with language of diversity and inclusion and equity.
It's always evolving,
changing,
every day.
Complicated. And so what I'm trying to do is educate myself, get involved, make new friends and connections, and there are endless programs available out there, and I'd like to mention a few to your audience here. I really appreciate the chance to volunteer with organizations like the Brand Lab, which are upturnships, Step Up Achieve Minneapolis, Juxtaposition Arts, Roots for the Home Team. And I happen to have a contract with North Hennepin Community College, where we're helping their very diverse population of design students get internships. I have joined organizations that uplift all people, such as Pollen. Pollen tells stories as a social enterprise and media company that they are. Then the Coven is a co-working space that I belong to, which is for women, non-binary, and trans people.
I absolutely love
it. It is fabulous.
Even the founders are so fun.
Yes, and they actually have 2 locations, Minneapolis and St. Paul, just opened this week. I serve on a couple of boards and committees. The Goldstein Museum of Design board is actually involved in a national initiative to diversify museum boards. And it's our goal to be more inclusive and bring on more membership than all white people. That we are also, as AIGA Minnesota, a professional association for design, we are doing a lot of diversity and inclusion initiatives, including scholarships for students who would like to attend a portfolio event, scholarships for any age person who would like to attend our annual design conference. And I have been a consultant with Minneapolis Institute of Art. They have an Art of Inclusion Fellow program, and I've been consulting with the fellows to help them with their career paths. I'm a mentor with Minneapolis Mad Women at the College of Design at the U and through the Brand Lab. And finally, I'm just trying to attend as many professional events that relate to these topics. For example, Twin Cities Diversity and Inclusion Roundtable had an incredible immersive event at REM 5, which is a VR studio, and we got ourselves immersed in white privilege. And then in my own personal book club, we are reading Sissy, which is focused on gender nonconformity. And I'm just trying to immerse myself in as much as I can.
You know Robin DiAngelo, who wrote White Fragility. She is coming down next month.
Very good.
So, and I believe the U of M is bringing her down. And that book is mandatory reading for anyone who wants to join our team. I insist as the CEO that they read that before they sign the acceptance letter, etc. But I'm so excited. The whole team is eager to hear her talk. I am grateful. I'm actually moved. That's why I'm clearing my throat, because you are the only person who vocally started calling or talking about the lack of diversity. When I would go to ad agencies, there were gatekeepers, the agency recruiters, and they would. I was in a unique position. I was a brand copywriter English is my first language, and I'm from India, but I have a very distinct Indian accent. So the first question, no matter where I went, was, where did you learn to speak English, etc., etc. The minute I heard that question, I knew I would not get the job. And it was interesting because creative recruiters at ad agencies would ask me these questions, which, when you think now, being now in real estate and thinking back, those are absolute no-nos for an HR person to be doing. And I've belatedly realized that 90% of these recruiters have never had HR training and should not have been asking me those sort of questions. I also found out that they used to make me do all these written tests, but if you were an American writer, I belatedly found out that candidates, if they were American, were not asked to write, but I was asked to do all these written tests. I one day in frustration, I just said, let me just apply to Best Buy, and Kat Gallagher was the recruiter at the time, and she said, she was the one, she said, oh my God, I love your book. You would be perfect. And she was the one who actually gave me my first really, really big break. And I realized that the corporate scene looked at creatives looked at me differently and didn't consider the fact that I was from another country. And I never ever thought of thinking the scenario today is so different when it comes to diversity and inclusion. But I am so grateful that you started pushing the conversation and pushing it, and you do it so gently and beautifully, and you have this fabulous smile. And I think I also do believe you have the kindest eyes.
Oh, thank you.
I just opened up to you, and I had never met you the first time we met for lunch, and I started bawling, and I said, thank you. But do you see the industry changing and being more open now?
It's slow progress, but as we keep talking about it, keep pushing employers to consider more candidates than they have before, obviously the population has shifted. And I just heard a very interesting fact today that the 5-year-olds out there today, in 13 years, are going to be looking at colleges and deciding where to attend, and then in 4 years after that, deciding where to work. And if we have not made progress between now and those 15 years from now, we're in deep trouble.
Absolutely.
And so
they are way more savvy, and they will not take nonsense.
Right, exactly. So this is hard work, and people have to acknowledge that and be willing to take a chance and make mistakes and just keep moving forward, and we will make a difference. I was just at a seminar at the U of M that's part of they have a certificate program on diversity and equity.
Oh, wonderful.
And I took a class on implicit bias in the search and recruitment process, and there are so many things that we need to look at about ourselves and make change.
Do you ever feel lonely? Because this is lonely, hard work. Did you ever, because here you are wanting to push it forward, and there are 10 people pushing you backwards.
Yeah, and I have to keep asking questions and keep kind of pushing people and hoping that they'll see the light and make the change.
Well, I'm grateful that you're doing it, because God knows, as a brand copywriter of color, I just could make no headway. I just could make absolute no headway until I actually joined, went out on my own and worked for Fortune 500s. I'm grateful they had a bigger mind and bigger heart.
That's excellent that you had that opportunity.
Well, I'm grateful to Kat Gallagher. I mean, truly, after that, my life opened. It was a whole new thing. It's because I went to the Miami Art School, and I worked previously in India, and I had a pretty solid book. And but then you keep doubting yourself. And then it's only when I started showing my book at Best Buy, Target, they were like, this is a great book. Why do you want to join us and not an ad agency? And that's when I said, okay, maybe perhaps it's not something all that bad with me. What else would you like everyone else to know? Especially young people who want to join the ad industry. Because
contact me.
Yes,
I will try to help you connect.
absolutely.
My whole goal, I'm kind of like a matchmaker. I love to connect employers with talent and vice versa. And even people who necessarily aren't going to work together but might be great friends or professional colleagues. And so to me, that's what life is all about, is connecting.
And it's funny that you should say matchmaker, because that's what I do as a realtor, matching people with their homes. And my dream, after I met you, I started feeling a lot more hopeful, because my dream is to someday see more young creatives of color get into the ad industry, because a lot of people started and quit halfway through. They would. But thank you so much. Thank you for coming, opening your heart. I will always be grateful to you for meeting me 4 years ago, because I remember as I was leaving, you just said, I wish I had met you before you quit the ad industry, but then I was already doing so well in real estate.
You found your place, that's for sure.
Well, yeah. Well, I love you.
Love you too.
No, I absolutely do. I absolutely do. This is your vocation.
We find our passion.
We both did. Yep.
Play it out.
You and I both did. It's a new lease on life. So it's, and now I'm tearing up. And I don't like it when I cry. So namaste. Thank you. I'm Cheryllyne Vaz. I'm the CEO of the Vaz+Harwood team. Please, ad agencies, you need to give this woman a lot of support. She needs it, all of you. And please, I hope the book White Fragility is made mandatory reading in each and every ad agency, at least you.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cheryllyne.
Bye.
Bye-bye.